Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. A lot of immigration law is submitting the petitions, but then ultimately going for an interview. And with all the work you did in preparing the petitions, with all the time you waited to be at the interview, it certainly can be a nerve wracking experience, and you can work up plenty of butterflies getting to the interview. However, there's a few things that you should be aware of and should properly practice prior to the interview. Now, first of all, I've received requests from lots of clients and they say, what do I say if this and that? And first of all, we can't tell you as attorneys what to say when a question comes. However, we can let you know what the issues are. We can let you know what they're looking for. Like, for example, let's say you're being interviewed for a marriage petition. You know, I could certainly let you know that they're looking to make sure the marriage is bona fide, that it was real. So they're going to look to see what the relationship was prior to when you actually got married. They're going to look to see if you have joint assets, if you live together. They're going to look and see what you have done jointly since you got married. All those types of issues are going to come up. But one of the problems that a lot of people have when they go to the interview is they expand upon things that were not asked. And that's the last thing you want to do, because what happens is you ultimately open up a can of worms and bring up issues that they hadn't even thought about. And many times that ends up getting the case denied. It ends up getting an RFE, which is a subsequent request for evidence. It ends up creating delay, all kinds of stuff. So the first most important point is that you only answer what is asked. Don't expand upon anything, because in your mind you might think it's important. In your mind you might think that they need to hear it, but that's not the case. You just need to ask or answer what it is they ask. So for example, if they say something to the effect, when did you two meet? Well, just list the date. And such as we met 3 years ago on March, period. That's it. You don't want to say we met 3 years ago on March. It was my brother's best friend. And while we didn't talk for 2.5 years, we Skyped a lot. And, of course, there was problems in the beginning. And, we didn't think we were going to get together. But then, and so on and so on. And invariably, you will say things that will harm your case. So just answer what was asked. Now, the second piece of advice I could offer is, a lot of times you think the client thinks when they're in front of the officer that they have to answer everything, and if they don't know the answer it'll automatically get denied. So what some people do is they give answers that aren't entirely accurate just so that they answer later, only to find out that the officer found out it was an incorrect answer, thought you were lying, denied the case based upon fraud or misrepresentation. And everything goes downhill from there, and then it takes a long time to get things back to where they were. So for example, just a simple thing, let's say the officer has you in a room separately and questions your spouse separately and asks you, says, okay, what is color toothbrush does your spouse have? Well, immediately what goes through your mind is, oh my God, if I don't know the color toothpaste that my spouse has, this case will certainly get denied. But I just can't remember. So you just want to say, well, I really can't remember, or I don't know what color the toothbrush is. You just have to tell the truth and let them know that you don't know. Okay. And if it ultimately gets denied, we can certainly do a motion to reopen or an appeal. That just because you might not have known those immediate answers does not mean that there wasn't bona fide. So if you don't know the answer, Don't make it up. Don't say something close to what you think it might be. You need to let the officer know. Okay. Next, even if you answer without saying extra stuff or you answer only what the officer asks, keep it brief. You don't have to go into a lot of detail. Okay. You don't have to elaborate on and on and on because invariably, again, what you think you're elaborating on that's important, the officers, either going to take what you're saying incorrectly or it's going to be irrelevant. So you want to get to the point, answer just what's asked, don't offer anything extra, and definitely, if you don't know, you need to let the officer know. Okay, so those are just a few tips that you want to keep in mind when you are at an interview with immigration. If you like the video, click like, subscribe, and more in the coming weeks. Thank you.